It was just another Friday night shift for Linda Martinez. She had been waitressing at Joe's Diner for 15 years. Same customers, same orders, same routine. Until the new customer at table 7 pulled out a photograph from his briefcase and started crying. The moment Linda saw that photo, her heart stopped. Because the person in that photograph was her daughter, who had been missing for 3 years. Joe's Diner in South Boston was a typical American restaurant. Red leather booths, checkered floors, neon lights. Linda Martinez had been working there for 15 years. She was 45 years old, a mother of 2. Her husband, Roberto, worked construction. Linda was a good waitress. She knew her customers, memorized their orders, built warm relationships with everyone. She had regular customers. Retired cop Frank came every morning at 7 a.m. for black coffee and blueberry pancakes. Nurse Sarah would eat an omelet after her night shift. "Linda, you're the heart of this diner," her boss Joe would say. "Customers come here for you." But Linda carried a deep pain in her life. 3 years ago, her 16-year-old daughter Maria had disappeared. March 15th, 2021. Maria Martinez had left home to go to high school but never arrived at school. When Linda came home that evening, she couldn't find her daughter. "Where's Maria?" she asked her 12-year-old son Carlos. "I don't know, Mom. She didn't come back from school." Linda panicked. Maria was a responsible girl. She would never do something like this. She immediately called the police. "We usually wait 48 hours," the officer said. "Maybe she's with friends." But Linda knew. Something had happened to Maria. That night, Linda and Roberto searched the entire city. Hospitals, police stations, Maria's friends. There were no clues. The next day, Maria's school bag was found in a park trash can. Her wallet, phone, everything was inside. Detective Sarah Johnson took the case. She was an experienced cop, but honest. These kinds of cases are very difficult. The first 48 hours are critical, and that's past. Linda didn't give up. She printed flyers, shared on social media, appeared on news channels. "Please find my daughter," she pleaded. Days, weeks, months passed. There was no trace. Maria had vanished from the world. Linda fell into depression. Her performance at work declined. Her smile disappeared. Customers were worried. "Linda, you need to see a doctor," Joe said. "You can't continue like this." But Linda kept working, because work kept her busy, prevented her from thinking. 3 years passed. By 2024, Linda had somewhat recovered. She still suffered, but had learned to continue with her life. Carlos was now 15 years old. He deeply felt his sister's absence. Linda tried to give him more attention. Roberto suffered silently. Men don't show emotions, but Linda knew he was broken too. "Maybe we should accept that Maria is dead," Roberto had said one night. "No!" Linda had screamed. "She's alive, I can feel it." But truthfully, Linda's hope was also fading. November 8th, 2024, Friday evening. Linda was on the evening shift at Joe's Diner. The restaurant wasn't full, it was a quiet night. At 8:30 p.m., a new customer entered, a man in his 40s. Suit, expensive looking but tense. He sat at table 7. "Good evening, what can I get you?" Linda asked. "Coffee, please, and some time." Linda found it strange, but brought the customer coffee. The man took out some papers from his briefcase, and then a photograph. The moment he placed the photograph on the table, Linda's breath stopped. In the photograph was a young girl. Long black hair, big brown eyes. Linda's heart was beating so hard it felt like it would burst. This was Maria. But how could it be? The man was looking at the photograph and crying. "I wish it had been different," he was mumbling. "I wish I had never found her." Linda approached. "Excuse me, the girl in this photograph." The man looked up. What? This girl? She looks very familiar. The man panicked. He quickly gathered the photograph. No, it's not. You're mistaken. But it was too late. Linda had recognized Maria. Please wait, Linda said. That girl is my daughter, Maria Martinez. She disappeared 3 years ago. The man's face turned white. I don't know what you're talking about. You do know. Where is Maria? The man was trembling. I shouldn't have done it, but I needed money. I had too much debt. Linda's world spun. What did you do to Maria? I sold her, the man whispered. I sold her to human traffickers. Linda wanted to scream, but held herself back. Because she needed this man's help to find Maria. The man's name was Richard Davis. 3 years ago, he had been in deep debt because of gambling losses. He had been following young girls in the neighborhood, looking for someone to kidnap. I saw Maria after school, he said, crying. She was so innocent, so beautiful. I followed her. Then what happened? I drugged her unconscious, put her in my car, delivered her to men waiting in the harbor area. Linda's hands were shaking. How much did you get? $50,000. But I regret it. I see her face every night. Where is Maria now? Linda asked. I don't know. They took her to another city, maybe another country? Who are they? The Kozlov brothers. Russian mafia. They do human trafficking. Linda's hope was reborn. At least there was a clue. Why do you regret it now? Richard was crying. Because I have a daughter too. Same age. Today, when she was going to school, I remembered Maria. I can't stand it anymore. Let's go to the police, Linda said. No, they'll kill me. The Kozlovs are very dangerous. Linda looked at Richard. This man had sold her daughter, but now regretted it, and he was the only way to find Maria. Help me, Linda said. Help me find Maria. How? You know where the Kozlovs are? Take me there. Richard was scared. Too dangerous. They'll kill us. I don't care. I want my daughter, Richard thought. Okay, but we need to go to police. We can't do this alone. Linda immediately called Detective Sarah Johnson. Sarah, I found information about Maria. What? How long story? Can you come right away? Sarah arrived at Joe's diner in 20 minutes. Richard was sitting there, still trembling. Linda told everything. Sarah was shocked. Mr. Davis, are you confessing that you kidnapped Maria Martinez? Yes. But I regret it now. I want to find her, Sarah thought. This is a very serious crime. But if you help, you might get a reduced sentence. Sarah called the FBI. Human trafficking was a federal crime. Agent Michael Torres took the case. We know the Kozlov brothers, Torres said. But we couldn't find evidence. Mr. Davis's testimony is very valuable. A plan was made. Richard would go in as an insider. The FBI would wait outside. Very risky, Torres said. If they suspect, they'll kill all of us. I'll do it, Richard said. I owe it to Maria. Linda also wanted to participate in the operation, but the police wouldn't allow it. November 12, 2024, Operation Day. The Kozlovs' warehouse was in Boston's outskirts. Linda was waiting at home, spending time in prayers. Carlos and Roberto were with her. Mom, we'll find Maria, Carlos was saying. 6 p.m., Richard entered the warehouse. FBI teams were positioned around. Richard had a hidden microphone. The FBI was hearing everything. Alexei, it's me. Richard, he said. Remember the new girl I brought you? Ah, yes, the Mexican girl. What happened to her? I want to see her. Why do you want to see her? Alexei Kozlov asked. A client is asking. How she looks. Alexei was suspicious, but took Richard to the basement. There was a scene that would break Linda's heart. More than 10 young girls, chained in terrible condition. And in the corner, Maria. After 3 years, she had changed a lot. Thin, scared, but alive. Maria, Richard whispered into his microphone. The FBI moved into action. The FBI raided the warehouse. The Kozlov brothers resisted but were arrested. Richard was also taken into custody, but first they rescued the girls. Linda ran to the hospital. Maria was in intensive care. For the first time in 3 years, she saw her daughter. Linda hugged her crying. "Maria, my baby, I found you." Maria smiled slightly. "Mom?" "Yes, your mother is here. You're safe now." Maria's recovery took a long time. She was physically okay, but her psychological trauma was deep. She had therapy, spent time with her family, slowly began to return to her old self. Linda took leave from work to care for her daughter. Joe was very understanding. "Your job is waiting for you here," he had said. "Think of your family first." 6 months later, Maria returned to school. She was 19 now, but wanted to complete her education. Richard Davis pleaded guilty in court. He received a 15-year prison sentence, but it was reduced to 10 years for helping. Linda addressed him in court. "Thank you. Your remorse saved Maria." The Kozlov brothers received life sentences. The other girls were also reunited with their families. "Justice was served," Detective Sarah said. "But the real hero is you, Linda. You never gave up." Maria is now 20 years old. She started university studying psychology. She wants to help human trafficking victims. "My mother never gave up on me," she says. "I won't give up on others either." Linda returned to Joe's diner. But now she's not just a waitress, she's a symbol of hope. Customers know her story and respect her. "You're our hero," retired cop Frank says. Linda and Maria started working together. They campaigned for awareness about human trafficking. They established the Missing Angels Foundation, an organization that helps find missing children. "Not every mother may be as lucky as me," Linda says, "but they should never lose hope." A corner at Joe's diner was dedicated to Maria. Photos of missing children are hung there. Linda Martinez's story shows us the power of hope. For 3 years, she never gave up searching for her daughter. And on that ordinary Friday evening, fate knocked on the door. If Linda hadn't noticed that photograph, Maria might never have been found. But a mother's intuition, a waitress's attention, saved a life. Now Linda still works at Joe's diner. But she doesn't just serve coffee anymore. She serves hope too. And a mother's love is the most powerful force in the world. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.